Okay. I'm sitting here today because during this quarantine, I have learned so much about myself and others, and I want to present it in a cute way that it can help someone else. All right, so as I'm going through this quarantine, the sheer amazement of being isolated allows us to see so much around us in a quirky way. And what I mean by that is I finally realized that people that I trust and people that I love and care for may not feel the same way about me. And I'm okay with that. I think the part that hurts the most is that I already knew that. So it begs the question, do I enjoy hurting myself? Am I that alone or feel that alone that I would rather stick around just to have physical people that do me harm, whether it's mentally or verbally or maliciously do things to see things go wrong in my life? And right now the answer is looking like yes. You know, I think at the end of the day, what becomes apparent is when you are isolated, you are literally forced to think about the things that you fear the most. You are able to self-reflect in a way that we never really done before. You know, we look at videos or look at people that are good at the whole self-help guru thing, and you know, we read those types of books that tell us how to better ourselves and how to think rich and grow rich, or you know, The Secret and all those things, which are fine, but it's nothing like being forced in a situation where all of your resources are now cut off, right? Like everything that we're doing or everything that we have a latch or attachment to has now been severed, right? Like you can't go to the store and shop, you know, and binge away, or, you know, you really can't, if you have an eating disorder, you really can't fulfill that, right? Because it's really limited as far as right now in this time in the world. And again, like I said, it just forced me to realize that this whole entire time before this quarantine has happened, I had allowed things to happen to me when I could have been done away with it. And now that I'm at a point where I'm really alone, you know, like we're quarantined in the house, we can't really go out, you know, everything is telling you to stop. I wish I could have done that sooner, right? Like I wish I could have trimmed the fat or did what I was supposed to do as far as getting these corrupt people or not, like just non-beneficial people in my life out. But overall, I think at the end of the day, it's what we do. Habits are formed, and sometimes you need a drastic halt or a drastic event to bring things back into focus for you. And you know, the good thing I've learned is that I wouldn't say it's YouTube. I would just say this diary, right? Like this is like a video diary. I'm sitting here talking to a camera that essentially will be talking to people that vibe with me, right? Like they get me. And that alleviates the thought of ever being alone. Like, are we truly ever alone in things? No, there's plenty of people that feel the same way, they go through the same things that I go through. For example, so I've noticed about myself that I'm not as nice as I think I am, right? Like it's really, it's really funny to think like when we're speaking of ourselves, we want to speak of ourselves in the highest of light, right? We want to be good people. We want to be angelic. We want to be, you know, seen as, you know, reincarnates of Mother Teresa, right? But the truth of the matter is I'm not that nice of a person. I'm quite passive. I'm very, I'm a procrastinator. Like, people think my stuff is together. It's not. I can't deal with things. I can't deal with like a lot of things at one time. I'll completely have a meltdown. Like, if I cannot multitask. And the funny thing is, in my former career, I was a chef. So how funny was that to think as I'm literally having a panic anxiety attack on the line, I would actually channel that fear and turn it into me having the gumption to keep doing better. I have to laugh thinking about it because it's the very humane thing, right? It's our body and our fears and our emotions are the core relevancy of you being human. Like, and we forget that. We push past that. Like, whatever it is that says, I know I'm scared, but I'm going to keep doing it. Or I know I'm sad, but I'm going to keep sticking around. Or, you know, this person makes me cry, or this person makes me laugh, or this person does this. And it's just, our body literally knows when things are right or wrong for us, but we'll disregard it, right? And the quarantine has made me honestly become more holistic, you know, more spiritual. You know, like I said before, like when you have these different vices, right, different resources to temporarily take away the pain, you know, necessarily right now, that's not the case. I can just literally remember a time where I would get upset, right? Like someone would say something to me that to me was off. And what I mean by that is like people call me bougie. That's like the thing, right? And the irony is, it's not that I'm bougie. It's just that I've come from an era in my life where I grew up without much. And I just refuse to go back because I know that the same way that place exists, there's a better place, you know? So I'll have people like in my family or something that will say, you know, you shouldn't, you know, be above your station, or you shouldn't like think such things. Like you shouldn't believe that you could acquire things, or those things are out of your reach. And I always peg the question as to why someone would think like that. But the reality is that they fear that they cannot. So therefore, you know, they're going to tell me not to do it because technically they see me closer to that than they ever would be. Right. And so I would have to choose. I would have to choose like, okay, do I go out for what I want and be totally alone? Like, you know, just go for my dreams, go for my aspirations, go for my goals, and know that when I turn my head towards the back, it's that mirror right there. It's just me. It's no one here, right? Or, you know, do I just say, listen, in secret, you know, I will conform and make these people happy because I didn't want to be alone. And in turn, I'm hurting myself. So this video is about me understanding that no one hurts me at all. I hurt myself. I hurt myself when I allow things to happen that I have total control of. I hurt myself when I allow people into my life that do not need to be in my life. I hurt me. I can't place the blame on anyone else no more. I'm in full control. I mean, you know, not in the sense of how people are, you know, in situations where, you know, they know someone, they grow, and then a turn of events be the person may be abusive, right, physically, or, you know, a person may hurt them in a tragic way. Not to that extent, because I believe that what I'm speaking of is preventative measures, right? Like you have to trust yourself and love yourself and know yourself. And what better time right now when you are so detached from society? We're so detached from, you know, social media, because the reality is right now we're just looking at each other hoping, you know, someone can come up with something trending or so. And the reality is the self-reflection is such a grand time right now. And that's what I learned. I thought that I was going to get on this camera and cry because how I'm feeling is really crazy. But the reality is I can't cry at something that I did. I did this to myself. I hurt myself. I hurt myself for a long time. But there's change. And I think I know exactly what to do about that.